Golden evening sunlight covered the busy Lagos road. Danfo conductors shouted loudly. Car horns filled the air endlessly. Street hawkers moved desperately between vehicles trying to survive one more difficult day. And standing quietly outside the massive gate of a luxury mansion was an old man nobody recognized anymore. His white shirt looked faded from age. His hands trembled slightly from weakness, yet his eyes remained fixed on the mansion in front of him. Because years earlier, the owner of that mansion once sold sachet water barefoot inside this same Lagos traffic. But today, the boy he rescued from the streets no longer answered his calls, no longer returned his money, and no longer wanted to remember the man who changed his life forever. That evening, Pa Chukwuemeka finally understood something painful. Sometimes, the people you help the most become the same people who destroy you slowly. But how did a poor sachet water seller become the owner of such a mansion? And why was the man who rescued him now standing helplessly outside his gate? This is the heartbreaking story of trust, gratitude, betrayal, and the dangerous mistake of helping someone while completely letting down your guard 16 years earlier. 16 years earlier, before the mansion, before the luxury cars, before the expensive suits, and before people called him Sir. Emeka was just another young man struggling to survive the streets of Lagos. At 16 years old, he had already finished secondary school, but while his classmates were preparing for university, Emeka was selling sachet water in traffic. Not because he lacked intelligence, not because he lacked ambition, but because poverty had other plans. Every morning before sunrise, he carried a heavy bucket of sachet water onto the busy roads of Lagos. Every evening, he returned home exhausted. Yet despite the hardship, Emeka refused to abandon his dream. Inside his pocket, he always carried an old English literature textbook, and whenever traffic stopped, he opened it immediately and read. Most people laughed at him. Some called him a dreamer. Others called him foolish. But Emeka did not care, because deep inside, he believed his life would not remain the same forever.
Emeka, you're reading again? Honestly, I don't know why you stress yourself with all these books. Because I don't plan to sell sachet water forever.
That's what everybody says. My brother, life is not that easy. I know. So why don't you just focus on selling your water?
Because one day, I want a better life. And this book will give you that. Maybe not today, but one day, you will open the door for me.
Professor Emeka, don't forget us when you become a big man.
Don't worry. When I become successful, all of you will eat well.
The other boys laughed and returned to work, but Emeka was serious. Every sachet of water he sold, every naira he earned, and every page he read was part of a future nobody else could see. What Emeka did not know was that someone was already watching him, and that person was about to change his life forever. A few meters away, a black SUV sat quietly in the traffic. Inside was Pa Chukwuemeka, a respected businessman, a self-made millionaire, and one of the most successful transport contractors in Lagos. People knew him for many things: his wealth, his influence, his success. But those who knew him personally remembered something else: his kindness. Pa Chukwuemeka never forgot where he came from, because many years earlier, he too had once been a poor village boy struggling to survive. As traffic slowly moved forward, his eyes remained fixed on Emeka. Not because the boy was selling sachet water, thousands of young people sold sachet water every day. What caught his attention was the book, the determination, and the hunger for something better. Most people saw a poor water seller. Pa Chukwuemeka saw potential, and for reasons he could not explain, he could not stop thinking about the boy. Later that evening, the traffic disappeared, the traders packed their goods, and the city slowly began preparing for the night. But Emeka was not ready to go home yet. His legs were aching, his shirt was soaked with sweat, and he had sold barely enough water to survive the day. Yet before returning home, he opened his book again. Just one more chapter, just one more page, just one step closer to the future he dreamed about. And then, a familiar vehicle stopped nearby, the same black SUV from earlier. Slowly, the rear door opened, and the wealthy businessman stepped out.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, young man. You were reading Inside Traffic earlier.
Yes, sir.
Most boys your age would rather be playing football.
I like books, sir.
What class are you in?
I finished secondary school last year.
Pa Chukwuemeka looked at the young man carefully. The boy was intelligent, respectful, and hungry for a better future. Yet instead of being in a university classroom, he was selling sachet water beneath a bridge.
You finished secondary school and you're selling water.
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you continue your education?
There was no money, sir.
No scholarship?
I tried, sir.
And your parents?
My father died when I was 10. My mother sells pepper in the village.
So why come to Lagos?
To help her.
At 16?
If I don't help her, who will?
For the first time that day, Pa Chukwuemeka saw beyond the bucket of water. He saw responsibility, he saw sacrifice, and he saw a young man carrying burdens that should never belong to a 16-year-old.
What were you reading in traffic?
English literature, sir.
Why that book?
Because I want to enter university. One day, I want to work in a big financial institution.
A banker?
Yes, sir.
And then?
I want my mother to stop suffering. And I want people to respect my name.
That answer touched the old man deeply, because many years earlier, he had spoken almost those exact same words himself. The desire to escape poverty, the determination to build a better future, the dream of making his family proud. Pa Chukwuemeka understood those feelings very well. For a few moments, he simply looked at the young man standing before him. Then he nodded slowly. Not because he had already made a decision, but because something about Emeka reminded him of a chapter of his own life he would never forget. Eventually, the old man glanced at his wristwatch. It was getting late. Lagos was beginning to settle into the night. And before leaving, he asked one final question.
If somebody gave you an opportunity today, what would you do with it?
I would not waste it, sir.
Everybody says that.
I know, sir. But I have waited too long for a chance. I would make something of my life. Good night, Emeka.
Good night, sir.
With that, Pa Chukwuemeka entered his vehicle and drove away. But Emeka had no idea that the conversation was not over. In fact, it was only the beginning. Because that night, while many people slept peacefully, one young sachet water seller occupied the thoughts of a wealthy businessman, and the next morning, a decision would be made that would change both of their lives forever. That evening, Pa Chukwuemeka returned home unusually quiet. Even after dinner was served, his mind remained somewhere else, and his daughter noticed immediately.
Daddy, you've been unusually quiet tonight.
Have I?
You haven't touched your food properly.
Maybe I'm just tired. No.
I know that look. Who are you planning to rescue this time?
Must every act of kindness become a rescue mission?
In your case,
Yes.
Slowly, Pa Chukwuemeka began telling her about Emeka, The 16-year-old boy selling sachet water in traffic, the worn textbook, the dream of attending university, the desire to build a better future for his mother. As Ngozi listened, she genuinely felt sorry for the young man. But she also remembered something life had taught her many times. Not everybody remembers kindness. Not everybody appreciates sacrifice. And not everybody remains loyal after success arrives. The room became quiet. Years earlier, Pa Chukwuemeka had loaned a close friend, Mr. Okafor, money when his business collapsed. The old man trusted him completely, but when it was time to repay the money, Mr. Okafor stopped answering his calls, stopped replying to messages, and kept promising tomorrow, next week, soon. Until one day, Pa Chukwuemeka finally met him face to face. Instead of apologizing, Mr. Okafor became angry and asked, "Is it because of that small money I borrowed from you that you're disturbing my life?" The words shocked him, not because of the money, but because of the disrespect. A few months later, Mr. Okafor relocated with his family and disappeared completely. To this day, he never repaid a single naira.
Not everybody is Mr. Okafor.
Maybe. Or maybe we only discover who people really are after they get what they want.
You've become too suspicious.
And you've remained too trusting.
For a moment, the old man simply smiled. His daughter had a point. Life had taught her lessons that were difficult to ignore. She had seen good people disappointed, seen kindness forgotten, and seen gratitude disappear once success arrived. Yet despite everything, Pa Chukwuemeka still believed something deeply. If everybody became afraid of helping others, many lives would never change, many dreams would never come true, and many young people would never receive the opportunity they desperately needed. For him, kindness was never a mistake, not when it was appreciated, not when it was forgotten, and not even when it ended in disappointment, because helping someone rise was always worth the risk, even when the outcome was uncertain. The two of them shared a quiet laugh, a father convinced that people deserved a chance, and a daughter hoping that kindness would never blind wisdom. Neither of them knew that the conversation they were having that night would one day become painfully important. Because somewhere in Lagos, a young Sachet water seller was about to enter their lives. And years later, the lessons discussed around that dinner table would return in a way neither of them could imagine. The conversation eventually came to an end. But long after Ngozi left the dining room, the young Sachet water seller remained on Pa Chukwuemeka's mind. His determination, his humility, his hunger for education, again and again. The old man remembered the way Emeka's face lit up when he spoke about university. It reminded him of himself many years earlier. A young man with nothing but dreams, a young man waiting for someone to believe in him. As the night grew deeper, Pa Chukwuemeka sat alone in his study. The city lights glittered outside his window, but his mind had already made a decision. By the time he finally stood up from his chair, he knew exactly what he was going to do. The following afternoon, he returned to the same traffic junction. Cars filled the road. Danfo buses competed for passengers. Street traders moved from vehicle to vehicle. But this time, Pa Chukwuemeka wasn't looking at the traffic. He was looking for one person, Emeka. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, he saw him. The same faded shirt, the same bucket of sachet water, the same textbook tucked beneath his arm, still chasing customers, still fighting for his future, still refusing to give up.
Emeka!
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
It's good to see you again, sir.
Come inside. I want to talk to you.
Emeka stood there for a moment, unsure whether he had heard correctly. Then he carefully placed his bucket inside the vehicle and climbed in. A few minutes later, the SUV left the traffic behind and drove across the city. Emeka spent most of the journey looking through the window, watching parts of Lagos he had never seen before. Eventually, the vehicle pulled into a quiet restaurant overlooking the lagoon. Nothing too extravagant, but far beyond anything Emeka could normally afford. For the first time in his life, someone like Pa Chukwuemeka had invited him to sit at the same table.
Emeka,
Yes, sir.
if somebody paid for your university education, would you take it seriously?
Yes, sir.
How serious?
With everything I have.
As the meal came to an end, Pa Chukwuemeka made a decision that would change a young man's future forever. Looking directly at Emeka, he offered to sponsor his university education. For a moment, the young man thought he had misunderstood. People did not do things like that. Not for strangers, not for somebody selling sachet water in traffic. But Pa Chukwuemeka was serious. Every school fee, every textbook, every academic expense. He promised to take care of everything. The words felt unreal, and before Emeka could stop himself, tears filled his eyes. Within months, Emeka's life began to change. The same boy who once sold sachet water in traffic walked through university gates as a student. He studied harder than anyone expected, while others slept. Emeka remained awake reading. While others wasted opportunities, he remembered the sacrifices being made for him. Year after year, his grades improved, and every semester, Pa Chukwuemeka smiled with pride. 4 years later, the impossible finally happened. Emeka graduated with distinction. As his name was announced, the loudest applause came from one person, Pa Chukwuemeka, the man who had believed in him before anybody else. As Emeka walked across the graduation stage, emotion filled the old man's heart. For a moment, he remembered the boy selling sachet water in traffic, the faded clothes, the worn textbook, the dreams nobody else could see. And now, that same boy stood proudly among university graduates. Years of sacrifice, determination, and hard work had finally paid off. For Emeka, the future had never looked brighter. And for Pa Chukwuemeka, there was no greater reward than seeing the young man succeed. As the celebration continued around them, neither of them realized that life was quietly preparing another chapter. A chapter neither money, education, nor success could prevent. Because the greatest test of gratitude was still ahead. Success was about to enter Emeka's life, and with it, a choice that would change everything. And so, the boy who once sold sachet water beneath a bridge had finally become a university graduate. A reminder that one act of kindness can change a life forever. But as we shall soon discover, success tests character just as much as poverty, because the greatest test of gratitude was still ahead. Thank you for listening to this story, and remember, kindness should never be abandoned, but wisdom should never be forgotten. Watch out for episode 2, where success finally arrives, and everything begins to change.